All right, so I'm going to be talking about a horror movie franchise that just announced as of this recording its first trailer for its new trilogy, and that is The Strangers. The Strangers has always been one of my favorite low-key horror movies. Really, it's only had two. Now we're going to go, I guess, five. So yeah. The Strangers is a horror movie I always enjoyed. Prey at Night is also pretty fun, even though it's a total juxtaposition from what the first movie was. So when I heard that they're going to be doing a remake of The Strangers and make it a trilogy that's going to come out apparently all in 1 year, I was a little concerned, especially with Renny Harlin, who I don't hate Renny Harlin as a director. He's done some good movies. I just don't think he's the right guy for this kind of franchise. That's what I'm trying to say, is that I don't think he's the right guy to be doing a movie about the Strangers. Even though, yes, you can make the argument again, Prey at Night was very different from the first movie. Prey at Night is kind of a neat one because it does mix a lot of action to it, but there's a lot of creepiness to it. It does keep the soul of the first movie alive, while it's still kind of being a brutal film in its own right. Renny Harlin's more known for directing horror, and yes, I know he did do Deep Blue Sea, but that's more horror action than anything else. So, excuse me. So, I'm nervous about it. Does the trailer look good? Yeah. But it does have some things that made me go, oh, okay, we're going that route. First off, the backwoods route. We're basically making the Strangers a bunch of backwoods weirdos, apparently. Again, that may not be the case, but that's what it looks like to the trailer to me, is that they're basically making the trio of killers into, like, part of this backwoods town that already throws me off already. The first movie was very much about it's in a suburban town, like, small suburban house, and it really gave you the feeling of the whole theme of this movie was it could happen to you. Like, you think you're safe in this house, but there's a chance like someone could just come in a well-guarded area, and they're coming in anyway. Like, that's what I like about it. Even though, yes, the first movie did have like only a few houses, but they did explain like it's the whole thing of, yeah, you're not safe in your home, even in a nice suburban area. These guys will come into your house, and the whole thing of, like, they do the thing at the end is like, why are you doing this? Is like, because you're here. And I went, because you're here? Here? I'm sorry, but it's because you're home. That's the thing that always The Strangers was one of those horror movies to me that always, like, freaked me out on a level that most horror movies don't. It's really one of those movies where you're just kind of like, after seeing the movie for the first time, you're like, well, I'm just gonna make sure I lock the door real quick and know where my gun is. That's what my mindset every time. That was my mindset watching it the first time, and even when I rewatch The Strangers, whenever I feel the fancy for it, I really have this thought of, like, just sitting in a chair and just kind of like thinking to myself, I locked the door, right? Like, I locked the sliding glass door, I locked the front, right? I had to have, right? I'm gonna go check, and also, where did I put my gun? Just know where I can find it real fast. Anyway. But that's not the effect I'm feeling here. It really does feel like they're trying to do more like Wrong Turn, which, honestly, if I'm being real, I think the people behind the Wrong Turn movies... let me rephrase that. Sorry, I flubbed that. I think Renny Harlin would do much better doing a Wrong Turn franchise. And I haven't seen the remake of Wrong Turn, but I've heard, like, mixed things, and it just, like, it's a weird cult now, instead of a backwoods cult, like a backwoods family of inbreds. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, why don't we just switch directors? Because I know the director of the Wrong Turn remake was the same guy, I think, who was the original creator of Wrong Turn. And from what I understand, that movie has a lot more in tune with the original Strangers, than it does with the rest of the Wrong Turn franchise. So I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, hey, why don't we just switch directors from the Wrong Turn remake, and we get Renny Harlin to do Wrong Turn movies? Which, honestly, again, I think Renny Harlin would be pretty... because it really does feel more like it's a Wrong Turn movie than it does a Strangers movie. But again, that's just how the trailer is presenting itself. It's not really giving me that same feeling of, claustrophobia and inside a house. In fact, it's just a couple who loves each other going on a honeymoon into some buttfuck nowhere town and renting a cabin, which I'm, again, going back to what I originally said was, yeah, that's not the whole thing of the movie. That's not the whole... And I get, it's a remake. I understand that that's the whole point of the remake, is to do something different. But, like, you're already, like, missing the point of the original film, Rennie. I don't know how to... I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but, you've kind of skirted the other way of the project here. Again, do I think this movie's going to be bad already? No, I'm not. I'm always been a proponent of everything has a chance to be good when everything has the potential to be good. So it's just one of those, you can just watch it. I mean, you can just go and watch it and see what it is. And for all intents and purposes, this movie actually might be good. Like, it might be fun, or at the very least, like a fun splatter film. But at the same time, as a fan of the original film, I'm going to be a little, like, I'm already, like, on the wrong foot of it. But again, I've been wrong before. I can fully admit, if I will go watch this movie and then come back and be like, guys, I was wrong. This is actually pretty good. Again, Prey at Night was nothing like... It didn't have a lot of the themes of the original film, and I liked it. I genuinely like the Prey at Night sequel to The Strangers, so I'm kind of like, again, Prey at Night proved that it could do something different and still be a great film. So, Strangers. And it's the fact that the other let's talk about that real quick. Like, the fact that it's it's going to be a trilogy, really, in 1 year, which means, like, I think somewhere Rennie said, Rennie Harlin had said that they had done all the films already and were just going to release them all at once. I also heard somewhere that they were just producing the movies on a monthly basis, which I'm like, ooh. I don't know if I like the idea of, like, making the movies then instantly sending them to screen, which I don't think that's the case. I think it was more of they were shooting the movies all at once, and now we're just going to release them in a year. In the span of 1 year. Which, by the way, how are you going to make The Strangers a trilogy? And yes, they made a sequel of that, but it was a totally different story. So, I'm kind of like, how are you going to make a trilogy of these movies? Because even the sequel was a totally different story, unless you're making this like an anthology. But no, from all interviews I've seen so far, they've basically said no, it's one big consecutive story, which I'm like, all right. And again, I don't know how I feel about the whole backwoods town thing. It really does feel like we're doing Hills Have Eyes or Wrong Turn than we are those films. So, I don't know. But, I'm always optimistic I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, it's gonna suck. Well, I have been a few times watching something or reading something that's like, oh, it's gonna suck, and then I'm proven right. Other times where I'm like, man, this is gonna suck, and then I'm proven wrong. Perfect example was Saw X, where Saw X I had no expectations for, not just because I wasn't a Saw fan, but also because, like, none of it really interested me. But when I started hearing, like, really good things about the movie and all these, like, great reviews, I was like, huh, I'll go check it out. Maybe it's all bullshit. And then I was like, damn, it's actually really good, and I'm really excited for Saw 11 because of how well that movie is. So, so again, I am the proponent of could be good, maybe not. Who knows? We don't know. The trailer does, like, again, but I will say the trailer it made me a little cautious. That's I think the big thing here is that the trailer did make me a little cautious about the whole thing. But you guys tell me in the comments below, if you guys saw the Strangers Chapter 1 trailer, let me know in the comments below. Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.